Hello, I'm back. Penny here with what I think is going to be a new series for my channel. I mean, it might not be a full series, but we'll see how it goes. So I want to talk about the topic of watches and wealth. Okay, and I think this is going to be a series. So hopefully you'll have a little patience with how I'm thinking about this. It's a little bit of a ramble. You know how we just got past, we just had watches and wonders. I'm thinking about, this is also alliteration, watches and wealth, okay? So the question I have on my mind is, are watches and is watch collecting a indicator of our wealth, of your wealth, of my wealth, etc.? Well, I think it can be. I mean, some people are comfortable collecting kind of in a way that is proportionate to their wealth or their income. So, you know, you might have it in your head, this is a benchmark of how much I'm willing to spend on a watch, and it doesn't financially stress us, yada, yada, yada. And then some people, you know, might be incredibly wealthy or financially healthy and decide that they don't want to, you know, collect at a certain price point that is relative to that. But I would say in general that if you're collecting luxury goods or optional items, these items are optional, you're probably doing okay financially, however you define that. Like, you know, your definition of financial health or wellness, you know, you're probably okay. You're probably meeting that definition if you're going ahead and collecting arbitrary things like Lego and watches, right? So yes, there is some correlation between your financial health and wealth and watch collecting. I think for me, and this is something I want to make a separate video because I've been keeping a little list trying to figure out the psychology of why I collect watches, why I'm so into this hobby. And I think it's pretty deep, guys. I think it's profound. Here I'm having my morning coffee. I wanted to make this video yesterday, but I was working. So today's Monday, see if you can see that on the Explorer 2, the 12th, April 12th. And yesterday was Sunday, and I don't work on Sundays, but I had a crap ton to catch up and do. So literally I worked from like 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. at my computer. And so that's kind of related to what I'm thinking today, but I just didn't have a chance to make this video because in my mind, Sunday to Sunday is a really good, you know, benchmark for what I'm thinking with this series. But anyway, like I said, I was thinking about these topics and why I collect watches, and I really, really want to explore that with you all a little bit more. Maybe even on a live stream. If you want to join me on a live stream, just chatting, you don't have to be on camera. I'm actually not shy about being on camera. I'm not on camera on my channel, but I've been on camera on other people's channels. So, you know, let me know if you're interested in this topic or some related topics and you want to do a live stream. I don't really want to you know, make it such a regular big deal, but occasionally I think it might be nice to interact with other people live and talk about some of these things. But there is already a lot of watch streams or live streams for watches, so it can be hard to keep up with. I don't want to compete with all of that. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the question of why I collect watches. It's going to be a separate video because I've got some pretty detailed notes on what I think psychologically is going on. But one of those things has to do with class. And I think part of what it means for me to collect watches and enjoy luxury goods, luxury items, is that I feel a sense of accomplishment from a class standpoint, like a little bit of class mobility, you know, like, I can actually afford this, you know, wow, I can afford this, you know, there is that recognition and it is related to class. You know, I'm sure that makes sense. It's still an optional luxury good. Probably you're into luxury goods or have some of them for similar reasons, but it's deeper than that. You know, I think that both Empress and I mean, first of all, we are not what I would define as wealthy. We're probably financially healthy, but, you know, we have very kind of humble jobs and careers. And I think that psychologically, I enjoy the watches a lot, partly because of a journey, you know, that we've had kind of generationally. Like our families were very, very, very middle class, working class. And like my mom, for instance, was in law enforcement. She's retired now, but she was a single mom. She raised me, you know, and I was the first person in my family to go on to college and do other things. So I guess, you know, money issues and class and stuff is just really deep, and there's deep psychological kind of connections and associations to stuff like that. But I know that part of the pleasure in watch collecting for me is a measure of success, that like, wow, you know, I came from this background and here I am, and not in a boastful way or like, you know, look at me now, started from the bottom, now we're here, you know, not so much like that. It's just appreciating that I am at that place where I can buy something like this. And it's not just watches, you know, for us, we've been into travel. We put a lot of onus on traveling and getting experience. If I had to choose, honestly, between a new watch and a fantastic vacation, especially a long one, I'm a big fan of staying in a you know, new country or city for a long time, so you really get to experience it. But if I had a choice between a nice trip and a watch, I would always choose the trip, guys, because those memories, those experiences, what you learn, it stays with you forever. I mean, watches arguably can stay with you forever, but I guess what I'm trying to say is these other markers of success and mobility for us have been things like traveling, have been things like art. We love to collect beautiful art, not super expensive, sometimes by local artists. But all of these things are sort of a measure of success. And I'm fully disclosing that we appreciate that. And so I think watches just fit into this class, you know, appreciation or mobility thing. But here's where I'm sort of flipping things around a little bit. You know, our watch is really a measure of health, your, you know, financial health, wealth. I think the true wealth is not any of those things. We know this, right? Everybody says, you know, your true wealth is your health, your family, your experiences. You know, what relationship does a material good have to what we really know as humans are the most valuable things? The most valuable things are not things at all. They're usually people. And it's you, you know, it's how healthy are you? So this is why the fitness tracker here is here, guys. I'm trying to flip this around and say that, you know what, I challenge myself that watches are really not an indicator of my wealth, that they're not. Because the real wealth is how I'm doing in the world. It's how I'm doing interpersonally in my family. And fundamentally, for me, I think the true wealth is how I'm doing in my body, my health. And I think, obviously, in a global pandemic, thinking about health is, you know, maybe even more crucial than ever. And I have struggled. I have struggled. I've been very fortunate to work from home during the pandemic, but I have put on those pandemic pounds. Oh my goodness, a year out, right? It's been over a year of me working from home, not going anywhere really. Maybe occasionally, you know, to a store, to a watch dealer, you know, but nothing like before, of commuting, of walking around a lot, you know. In my job, I'm like on my feet a lot sometimes, and, you know, none of that. So I have put on those pandemic pounds, guys, like at least 20 pounds. I don't know exactly what my weight was before COVID, because I wasn't weighing in that much, but it's at least 20 pounds, if not even more, maybe 20 to 25 pounds in a year. And I've always kind of been up and down with my weight. And if you are, you know, middle-aged person up and down with your weight, it can creep on fast like that, you know, without you realizing it. And so if that's the case, guys, you know, I don't have my collection here, but I'll put the Explorer 2 here. The beautiful collection that I have amassed is really insignificant. It doesn't have anything to do with true wealth. And so that has really been on my mind lately. And I've really wanted to put this out there to you guys who watch this channel, to maybe consider joining me on a challenge that I am laying out for myself, because I'm going to have to go back to work, to the office. Take a sip of coffee. Black, of course. And I say, of course, just because sugars and creams and stuff add calories. I'm going to have to go back to the office probably around, in a couple months, probably around September, we'll say. Maybe a little later, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, I can't freaking fit my clothes. I can't fit my shit. Not comfortably. Like my favorite pants and jackets and shirts, these things are snug. I had to buy a new pair of jeans just because in the pandemic, I've been, wearing nice shirts and stuff on Zoom calls, but I've been wearing sweatpants and shorts and all kinds of non-form-fitting clothing. And I knew my weight was creeping up. I knew that, but my vanity is at stake in not wanting to buy new clothing. I'd rather buy watches, not new clothes, right? So I want to really kind of issue this as a challenge to me and to any of our viewers who've been in a same situation where, this past year, you've been fortunate to stay healthy in a way of not like dying from COVID. But, maybe your fitness level, your own personal sense of what is wealth and what is healthy for you physically has been out of order, has been distorted, has been lost. And that's where I am, and really kind of, taking a sober look at where I am in life, in a sort of broader, existential way too, that do I want to, on my deathbed, have this beautiful collection that we're leaving to family members or, whatever, and then, have suffered from some really severe weight-related issues? Can you be a watch collector who is unhealthy physically? Oh, of course, yes. I think for all the things that watches symbolize, class, maybe some sexiness or whatever, you don't want to have a huge mismatch between what they symbolize and where you are. And I think for me, that's the case right now. I want to fit into my beautiful clothes that I enjoy and look good in, and I want to overall just be healthier. Fortunately, I haven't had any serious health issues, but as I get older, obviously, that can be a concern. So I kind of want to use watches and my intensity and just, crazy fixation on them to rechannel that energy somehow and see if it can pay off in other areas of my life. Can we, crazy watch enthusiasts, steal some of that energy, some of that juice, some of that intensity, and put it into other areas of our life with the same level of craziness and intensity? And I say craziness lightly because I think that a lot of us are really anxious, intense people. And I know for me, I'm kind of all or none. When I'm into a project for work, I'm 100% in. I can't do much else, right? And I think watches is kind of the same. So can I sublimate that energy and put it into something like achieving my health and fitness goals, the real markers of wealth? Well, I'm going to try. And I'm going to try to use this channel. I know it won't be for everyone. You probably want to hear me just ramble about watches, but I will include watches on this journey. They're going to be a big part of it because, like I said, I want to see where can I go with my watches? What can I do with my watches? I have all sports watches. So how can I use that to my advantage health-wise? And so I'm going to be issuing a few videos, maybe once a week or once every couple weeks, that kind of update you on my progress as it relates to health and fitness and watches. Okay, so let me give you a little snapshot of what that's going to be like. This new series, which I'm thinking of as Watches and Wealth, even though for me, wealth is not about material things. It's about the health and fitness things. Also, I'm thinking about it as watches, health, and wealth. I don't know. We'll see what it ends up being called. But if you're here for the journey, I hope you will join me and you know, if you're doing something similar, if you have things in your physical life that you need to get back in order or get in order and you want to join me, I know accountability works so well. It can work having even strangers joining you and cheering you on, and still talk about watches, right? So this little tracker is the 3D Fitbud. I had been using this for a while before winter, especially. Clip it onto your belt or your waistband, put it in your pocket. I don't want to have a fitness tracker on my other wrist because I really just like having a watch on the watch wrist and nothing else on the other wrist. But this has its drawbacks, and so I am going to be updating this. As you can see, I only have, it's cheating. Look at this. It's got flaws, guys. Look at this shit. I'm not moving. And so it has a serious drawbacks. I'm going to make a separate video on which tracker I have decided to go with because this is not cutting it. I literally got up this morning, let the dogs out, and as you can see, it is, I'm gaming the system here. Okay, now it's finally realized I'm not walking. So it's not entirely accurate. Oh, shoot, there we go. But this is one thing that a tracker of some sort is one thing I find useful. So let me show you what I have here. I have a sheet. This is a sheet I've been doing for years. And as you can see, I have dropped off. The last time I tried this was in January, end of January. I mean, I had a couple sheets before that, but I know visualizing my goals and my progress is really helpful. So I just have these different categories. Everybody's going to be different. If you're doing something like this, you know, let me know what your style is. You probably use an app because why would you use paper? I like using paper. Sometimes things that are digital doesn't feel real to me. So I like using paper. But basically in this category, I put down my steps for the day, how many steps I had, how much water I have. I have this 32-ounce water bottle, and I just kind of keep track of how many times have I filled that up and completed drinking that. Fasting is absolutely essential to my progress health-wise, and it's the thing I've been struggling with the most during COVID, is that I eat all day and snack all day because I'm home. I'm near the kitchen, take a break, let's get a snack. And it has been really difficult to not eat all day. But I do intermittent fasting, and it helps me the most, probably more than anything else, to start to lose weight and to sculpt and just feel better. I will talk about that maybe in another video when I'm going over my week and how it went. But I have to have a pretty small eating window for me to see progress. If you're younger or have a different metabolism, different body, chemistry, hormones, whatever, maybe you use fasting, but you don't have to do it. You can just skip breakfast and you're fine. Your girl can't just skip breakfast and be fine. So I try to eat in the afternoon, most of my food, and that's a wrap. So fasting hours, how long I have fasted is really important, but it's also psychologically really challenging during these times. Sleep. I am a pretty good sleeper. I usually get anywhere from 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And weight, I may not be sharing my weight on the internet. We'll see. We'll see how good I'm feeling. I don't know. But main thing for me is I at least want to use 20 pounds. I have even more than that I could lose, but I want to lose the COVID weight and keep it off. And it's hard, but here's the watch I've chosen for my first week. So I'm going to hopefully, I do this every day, fill in this schedule, this little tracker every day. But the watch, here's where the watches come in. I think the watch that you're wearing in a given week, and I'm probably going to be rotating them once a week, is really helpful and can be an aid in this process. So let me just say, if you're still watching, I'll probably repeat this a couple times because I found it so cool, is I figured out how to use a GMT watch to track my fasting. So a lot of times I'm like thinking about, when did I stop eating yesterday and how many hours has it been? And I spend this time like counting the hours, being like 12, 11, 13 hours. How long has it been? Well, guys, the GMT hand right now is pointing to how it's actually telling me how long I have fasted. So you can see that it's at the 17. It's going on 17. It's actually been 17 hours because it's 9, almost 9:15. You could see there, 9:15, and it's pointing at the 17th hour. Normally that would be what, 5 o'clock? If I was using this to count time, it would be 9 a.m. somewhere, well here, and 5 p.m. because it's pointing at 1700, 5 p.m. somewhere else. But in fact, I've been using it to count my fasting hours. So what I do is, let's say I did actually stop eating yesterday at 4 p.m. Your girl made it. I had some ice cream, but it was the last thing I ate. We'll talk about nutrition another time. The last thing I ate was at 4 p.m. yesterday. So that means that when it was 4 p.m., I set the red GMT hand to the 24, well, which is 0, right, in terms of hours lapsed. Then every hour fasted, this GMT hand is inching forward like it normally does. So that by now, the next day, I'm looking at it and I have made it to 17 hours. My goal for today is to get to 20. So when I have hit 20 hours, at least 20 hours, that'll be fine. I stopped eating at 4, so that's when I put it. That's what it's marking. Now, I don't do it from start to start, like, what was the eating window, when is that open? And I just do it from the end. So that is right, 17 hours from 4 p.m. yesterday. Obviously, when it gets to 4 p.m. again, that would be 24 hours. So it'll be up here if I make it that long. I'm not going to make it that long. I'm probably going to eat around 12 o'clock. So again, that will be in 3 hours. So that will be 20 hours fasted. So guys, the GMT hand can be really useful for that. And so that's why I chose the Explorer 2 to start me off on this let's progress toward wealth journey. And I've been having the hardest time with fasting. My movement has been shaky as well because I've been working so much and I'm from home. But now that the weather is nice, I like to do a lot of outdoor stuff. There's no reason why I can't get my steps up. So we're going to see what the baseline is. The baseline today is not going to be, 270 steps. It's going to be more than that. So I'm going to see what baseline is. But the hardest thing right now has been not snacking and eating all day or eating late. That really doesn't work for me and my body chemistry. But once I have been on a regular kind of fasting schedule, I will start to see progress and feel better. So yeah, the GMT watch, I chose this one over the BLNR just because it is also called a little bit of sentimental as the first watch, the first Rolex that I got. And the good thing about a turning bezel with the GMT function is that if you don't have to keep resetting this hand. Like, let's say I stop eating today at 3 o'clock, I have to actually unscrew it, go in and reset the GMT hand because it was set to 4 o'clock yesterday when I stopped. So you kind of have to, if you're being regular, then this works well for fasting and without resetting. But the other one with the turn bezel, the BLNR, would allow me to, if my window shifts a little bit, I could just turn that bezel to reflect when I stopped eating. So that one actually technically is better for the status that I'm in, or the state that I'm in, which is struggling. Your girl is struggling. So I should have maybe chosen that one because it's a little bit easier. But this also makes me commit that, like, damn it, if I don't want to reset this GMT hand, I need to stop eating. So that was all a long-winded way of saying I have arrived at just a little bit of a revelation that, watches and wealth, maybe they do go together, but we know that the more important things are your health, your wellness, your connection to people. And I'm a watch fanatic. I'm a watch nut. And I spend so much time on thinking about watches, researching watches, listening to watch conversation. I need to take a slice of that, 20, 30, 40, 50% of that energy, and see if I can productively channel it into something that directly benefits my real wealth, right? And it's not going to be either my work or my hobbies and a little slice for other things. No, I really need to get things more into balance. Not just for the vain reason of, hey, I don't want to buy new clothes that are a bigger size. I want to fit my nice work clothes. But because, again, I think at the end of the day, do I want really good health or do I want beautiful watches? If I had to choose, guys, I got to go for the health. So let's see what I can do to really, really fulfill that. And I ask you, if you're struggling in any way with the COVID-19 pounds or whatever it is, people say the pandemic pounds, join me on this journey. Let me know what you're going to do. And down the road, maybe we can do a live stream, check in, talk about watches, talk about other measures of wealth and health. And that would be fun. I would definitely be up for that. So if you've made it this far in the video, let me know what you think. How do you think about wealth and watches and health and fitness? Do you want to use your watches to inspire you or motivate you or help you on your journey? I know people are pretty big fans of Apple Watches and other fitness watches like the Garmin and stuff. So, or even G-Shocks, people might use those. I'm not going to be using any of those, but I will let you know I am upgrading this and I'll show you what I'm getting. But for now, I hope you'll join me on some part of this journey, either just to watch and support or to join also. Let me know what your goals are. All right, mine are at least to get back into my nice clothes, and that's a good 20 pounds. Beyond that, I would like to do more, but let's just start with the basics. Like, can I look nice when I go back into the office without, busting out of my shirts and shit? Can I look good and feel good? That's going to be really important psychologically. So anyway, thank you for watching. Peace.